Hi, it's me, Father Longlegs. You know me, Daddy T. As a 30-year-old female comedian, or as I like to say, comedian, I am an aging, wise beauty. The beauty is silent. Luckily, the lack of prominent roles for people like me has given me a lot of time to develop wisdom, and none to develop boobs. Puberty skipped over me like the tooth fairy skipped over Stephen Paleopoulos in the 3rd grade when he forcefully pulled out his teeth to try to turn his pillow into a ATM. Speaking of pulling out, I have no children of my own, unless you count my inner child that cries during Pixar movies, or anytime a stranger asks me, "How are you?" But I do have a lot of fatherly love, and I would like to impart that knowledge onto you. So sit back, relax, and catch. Just kidding. But you flinched, didn't you? Why do you think Stephen Paleopoulos tried to pull his teeth out? Because he was trying to cheat the system. And as everybody knows, cheaters never win. The only real way to win is to work hard and earn it. And by it, I mean money. And as you know, money doesn't grow on trees. Or does it? Yes! Yes, it does. And everything you know is a lie. Unless you knew that I was going to say that, in which case, I guess this sentence is a lie. Either way, if you're watching this, you have been lied to. Growing up, you were taught money doesn't grow on trees because it takes hard work to make money. Stephen Paleopoulos learned this the hard way. You can't just pull out all your teeth to get the latest PlayStation. You know what grows on trees? Trees grow on trees. And trees cost money. Have you ever tried looking up houseplants on Etsy? I have yet to find a free houseplant on the internet that's not already dead. And in fact, sometimes the dead ones cost money too. Just try going to the Home Depot gardening section. Note to self, stop buying houseplants at Home Depot. Teresa, have you tried using Nextdoor or Craigslist? What do you think these long fingers do all day? They Google things. Things like free tree on Craigslist. Nary a free tree to be found. Except for this one. And it's artificial, and it's a Christmas tree. Talk about a war on Christmas. I mean, JC died on a real cross, not fake wood or laminate. Have some respect. Furthermore, trees or plants take a lot of work to grow. Take it from me, someone who's killed a lot of plants, more than audience members, in the stand-up sense. Trust me, I murder on stage.
Oh, thank you. Speaking of insecure.
Okay, but what if someone doesn't want their tree? Could I remove it for free and take it off their green thumb lacking hands? No! You know how it's illegal to burn American money? Well, you can't just remove a tree you don't want for free. You have to pay someone to do it. It costs money to remove trees. That's right, the very thing that people tell you money doesn't grow on. So you have to pay to get and get rid of a tree. And I'm not just talking pay the neighbor boy to swing an axe at your birch like you would, mow your lawn or sweep your porch, or promise not to tell anyone about the time he saw you crying through the window, staring at the moon, begging her to love you back. No, I mean people make careers out of it. So many people, in fact, that there are unions that people pay to represent them in those careers. And then there are other people who manage those people who pay other people to make sure that those people they manage don't unionize. That's how much money can be made from trees. In fact, very recently, a tech giant that sells everything from web servers to movies to whatever this is, did just that in a very successful anti-union campaign that was widely covered by national media. And while that company isn't known for selling trees, though it does sell them, it is named after a thing that's full of trees. In fact, the word tree comes up 13 times in the Wikipedia article about the regional rainforest this company is named after. Okay, so what's the big deal? Maybe somebody just botched the saying like a game of telephone or actual telephones. Oh no, this is not your garden variety mismanaged metaphor, my sweet baby. This is a massive manipulation meant to mar your ability to maintain a sense of reality. For capitalism to work, the people have to believe the only way to earn their value in society is to work legally and then pay taxes to the same people who decide in the first place what's legal and what's not. This allows the ruling class to present a system of employment that seems fair because it supposedly rewards increased productivity with increased capital. If you work hard enough as a part-time employee somewhere, where you get paid for overtime, you might one day become a full-time employee who's exempt and is expected to work overtime. But on the plus side, you get benefits like paying hundreds a month for health insurance that might cover $12 of a $250 visit to the hospital, if you're lucky. Of course, there are other ways to make a living, such as the good old-fashioned way that worked for our ancestors, and still works for literally every breathing form of life on this planet, using the natural resources in the environment to address our needs. We have put so much emphasis as a society on the idea that net value equals value of life, that rats, bears, and literally spiders have more rights to forage for food and take shelter in another person's house than an actual human being who doesn't own or rent that house. The wealthy ruling class have figured out how much money can be made from trees, and they spend a lot of that money that they made from those trees to convince the rest of us not to protect the trees. The Koch brothers are pretty much responsible for the whole global warming isn't real campaign. Even Al Gore's feature-length ASMR video didn't really stop the long-term effects that the Koch brothers' disinformation efforts had. It would be like if somebody convinced you that your womb was worthless, and also that putting toxic chemicals into your womb actually would make you rich. And if you got rich enough, maybe you could buy a place to live made out of pieces of your womb. Everything that has value is taken from nature. I mean, houses are literally made out of wood. I know there are houses made out of other things like brick and candy and lies. Take these two tables. Which one of these do you think costs more? Unless you're going through an expensive divorce and living out of a storage unit, the wooden table will run you up a bigger sum. But fear not, for if you like the look of wood and you don't have the cash, you can always buy fake wood or shitty wood or reclaimed wood. Unless you live in a gentrified neighborhood, in which case it's impossible to tell if your local vintage store is selling you quality wood or just upcycled Wayfair furniture. What about this? How much do you think this table costs? If you guess under $5,000, you would be correct. That is, if you are a member of Restoration Hardware, which costs $100 a year to be a member of. For everyone else, it is over $5,000. So now what? We're just supposed to make America vegetate again? Not exactly. It would be unreasonable to ask everyone to leave society and live in a tree like George of the Jungle. Although Brendan Fraser could get it. Though you can continue living in your existing system while understanding why it's flawed. And while you continue surviving within this very flawed system, you can work toward changing it by building your values off of truth instead of perpetuating historical lies. You don't have to do this alone. Work together. I mean, hard work is still good work, but smart, honest hard work is better. Anyone can make a difference in the system. You're like a thread in a blanket. Every thread has the power to change the fabric. It's why we sell sheets by the thread count. But more importantly, build community. If you can't build a tree made out of money, you can at least root yourself in the truth and prune away those nasty lies to make room for growth. If you still don't believe me, here's a lightning round of evidence that money grows on trees. Only fancy hotels have nature inside intentionally. Try buying an apartment with a scenic view of the park. It's a lot more than a scenic view of brick wall. This wallpaper of illustrated trees costs $127. You can pay to spend a day to relax in a rainforest-themed spa. Finally, money is made out of paper. Paper is made out of trees. Money is literally made from trees. And it costs money to make money because trees are not free. Number one takeaway, you've been lied to. Number two, there is no number two. But that does remind me, I gotta go put a permit in with the city so I can chop down a tree to make some toilet paper. Paperwork, am I right?